This is first module of chapter 5. The chapter 5 is devoted to solve a system of linear equations. The system of linear equations occurs in many applications of science and engineering. A lot of interesting and useful methods are also developed and available to solve a system of linear equations. So, all these methods are divided into two groups. One is called the direct method and another is called the iterative methods. The direct method includes the very simple methods, say called Cramer's rule, matrix inverse method, say matrix decomposition method and many others. Similarly, the iterative methods includes Jacobi's method, Gauss-Seidel iteration method and many others. So, in this chapter we shall discuss all these methods, and in this particular module, that means the first module, we shall discuss about matrix inverse method to solve a system of linear equations. A system of m linear equations with n variables is given by a11 x1 plus a12 x2 plus up to a1n xn equal to b1 and the ith equation of the system is ai1 x1 plus ai2 x2 plus plus ain xn equal to bi, and the last equation of this system is am1 x1 plus am2 x2 plus plus amn xn equal to bm. This is a system of linear equations, and note that the power, that means the exponent of the variables x1, x2 up to xn are 1. That is why this system of equation is called the linear equations. The quantities x1, x2, xn are called the variables or unknowns of the system, and a11, a12 up to amn are called the coefficients of the system, and these are generally known quantities, and the numbers b1, b2, bm which are present in the right hand side of the equations, these are generally constant or free terms, and this is called the right hand constant. The above system of equations can be written as a single equation as summation j equal to 1 to n aij xj equal to bi. This is the ith equation of the above system of equations, and this is true for I equal to 1 to m. This system of equation can also be written with the help of matrices as x equal to b, where A is called the coefficient matrix, contains the coefficients a11, a12 up to amn. The right hand side b represents the right hand vector b1 to bm, and the vector x is the vector of the variables x1 to xm. So, this is the matrix representation of the entire system of equations. If the system of linear equations has a solution, then we say that the system is consistent, otherwise the system is called inconsistent or incompatible. Again, a consistent system of linear equations may have unique solution or multiple solutions. If the system has unique solution, then the methods available which are used to solve a system of linear equation are easy, but the determination of multiple solutions of a system of linear equation is a very complicated task. But the evaluation of a system of or solution of a system of linear equation sometimes depends on the value of determinant. So, an efficient method is required to evaluate the value of a determinant, and that one is presented in the following section. One of the best methods to evaluate determinant is known as triangulation, and it is also known as Gauss reduction method. The main concept of Gauss reduction method is to convert the given determinant into a lower or upper triangular form by using only elementary row operations. If the determinant is reduces to a triangular form, say d dash, then the value of the determinant, original determinant, is obtained by multiplying of the diagonal elements of the reduced determinant d dash. So, this is the basic concept of the Gauss reduction method. Now, let us consider a determinant d of order n, which is given by a11, a12 up to a1n, and the last row is an1, an2 up to ann. Using the elementary row operations, the determinant d can be reduced to the following upper triangular form. Note that the first row of the determinant d dash remains unchanged, and the first element of the second row is 0, and all other elements are changed according to the elementary row operations. The first element of non-zero element of the second row is a2 to 1. The 1 superscript 1 represents the new value of the element a22. Similarly, a231, a2n1 are the new values of the second rows after the elementary row operations. Similarly, the third row is 0, 0, a332 up to a3n2. So, these values are obtained by again applying the elementary row operations, and lastly the last row is 0, 0, 0. Only the last element is non-zero, and that one is ann n minus 1. To convert all the elements of first column except the first element to 0, the following elementary row operation are applied. That means aij1 equal to aij minus ai1 into a1j divided by a11, and this is applied for I and j equal to 2, 3 up to n. And using this elementary row operation, it is guaranteed that the element at 2, 1 position must be 0. Similarly, to convert all the elements of second column below the 2, 2 position to 0, the following elementary row operations are used. That means aij2 equal to aij1 minus ai21 into a2j1 whole divided by a221, and in this case the values of I and j are 3, 4 up to n. All these elementary operations can be written as a compact form as aijk equal to aij k minus 1 minus aik at k minus 1 iterated value into akj at k minus 1 iteration value whole divided by akk at k minus 1 iteration value. So, for this formula, the value of I and j are k plus 1 to n, and the values of k's are 1, 2 up to n minus 1, and aij 0 means the original aij for all I and j. So, if the determinant d is converted to the upper triangular determinant d dash, then the value of the determinant, original determinant d, is given by a11 into a221 into a332 up to ann n minus 1. That means product of the diagonal elements of d dash is the value of the determinant d. So, this is the Gauss reduction method to evaluate the value of a determinant, but this method has some limitations. So, it is observed that the formula for elementary row operation is simple and easy to program. This is the advantage of this method, but another observation is the time complexity of this method is order of n to the power 3, where n is the size of the determinant, but the major drawback of this formula is discussed below, which is to compute the value of aij at the kth iteration, one division is required. That means the denominator akk at k minus 1 iteration is 0 or very small, then the method fails. Why the method fails? Because if the denominator akk k minus 1 is very small, then there is a chance to loss of significant digits or data overflow. But this situation can be avoided by applying a important or useful technique called the pivoting technique, which is discussed in the next slide. Now, we define pivot. A pivot is the largest magnitude element in a row or in a column or the principal diagonal or the leading or trailing submatrix of order I, where I lies between 2 to n. Let us consider following matrix to illustrate these terms. For this matrix, 9 is the pivot for the first column. Note that the maximum element among the elements of first column is 9. So, 9 is the pivot for the first column. Minus 33 is the pivot for the principal diagonal. Note that the maximum magnitude element among the diagonal elements 0, minus 8, minus 33 and 11 is minus 33. So, this is the pivot for the principal diagonal. Minus 40 is the pivot for the entire matrix. This is the largest magnitude element in the entire matrix, and minus 8 is the pivot for the trailing submatrix, the first submatrix 0, 1 and 1 minus 8. So, these are the different kind of pivot which are used in a matrix. Now, there are two kinds of pivoting is available in literature. One is called the partial pivoting and another is called the complete or full pivoting. In partial pivoting, find the first pivot element which is the largest element in magnitude among the elements of first column. This maximum element is the first pivot element, and if it is A11, that means the first element, then there is nothing to do. But if it is AI1, that means I is not equal to 1, then rows I and j are to be interchanged. Then apply the elementary row operation to make all the elements of first column except first element to 0. In the second stage of the partial pivoting method, the second pivot element is determined by finding the largest element in magnitude among the elements of second column leaving first element, and let it be aj2. J may be 2 or any other values. In this case, we interchange the second and jth rows and then apply elementary row operation to make the zeros of all elements below the A22 elements. In general, at ith stage, the smallest index j is chosen, for which the absolute value of Aij at kth iteration is equal to the maximum among the absolute value of Aik at kth iteration, where I equal to k, k plus 1 up to n. Then the rows k and j are interchanged, and Akk represents the kth pivot element. Now, we discuss complete pivoting or full pivoting. In partial pivoting, the pivot is chosen from column by column, but in complete pivoting, the pivot element is the largest element in magnitude among all the elements of the determinant. Let it be attained at the lmth position for the first time. If lmn is the first pivot, then we interchange the first row and the lth row and of the first column and the nth column. That means A11 position becomes the largest element after this interchange of the rows and columns. In second stage, the largest element in magnitude is determined among all elements leaving the first row and first column, because the first element A11 element becomes the first pivot element. So, this element is the second pivot element. In this manner, at the kth stage, we choose ALMN such that the absolute value of ALM at kth iteration is equal to maximum among the absolute value of Aij at kth iteration, where I and j equal to k, k plus 1 up to n. So, using this formula, we can determine the kth pivot element, then rows k and l and columns k and m are interchanged, and Akk be the kth pivot element. Now, we consider an example to illustrate the entire methods. So, A is a determinant of order 3, and we have to convert this determinant into an upper triangular form using partial pivoting method, and hence we have to determine the value of the determinant A. Note that the largest element in first column is 5, that means 5 is the first pivot element, and it is present in third row. So, we interchange first row and third row. So, after interchange first and third row, the transform determinant is this one 5 minus 1 6, second row remains unchanged and third row becomes the first row. Since two rows are interchanged, then the value of determinant is to be multiplied by minus 1. This is coming from the linear algebra or properties of determinant. To maintain it, a variable SIGN, that means sign, is used, and in this case its value is minus 1. Now, we apply the elementary row operation to convert all elements of first column except first to 0. The reduced determinant is this one. Note that the first column is 5 0 0 and the corresponding second and third column are also changed according to the following elementary row operations, which are R2 prime equal to R2 plus 2 by 5 R1 and R3 prime equal to R3 minus 1 by 5 R1. We have used the notation R2 and R2 prime. These are basically represents the original second row and modified second row respectively. Now, we determine the second pivot element. In this case, the pivot element is at the truth position, therefore, no interchange is required. Now, we apply the elementary row operation R3 prime equal to R3 minus 1 by 3 3, that means 33 R2. The reduced determinant becomes 5 0 0 minus 1 33 by 5 0 and the third column is 6 17 by 5 56 by 33. Note that this is an upper triangular determinant and the value of the determinant is given by sign, the value of sign into the product of the diagonal elements 5 33 3 by 5 56 by 33 and which is equal to minus 56. So, this is the final value of the determinant obtained by partial pivoting technique. So, the Gauss reduction method is discussed to evaluate a determinant of any order by incorporating the partial pivoting method. The Gauss elimination method or Gauss reduction method is used to find the value of determinant, and these values is used to solve many other problems. For example, to solve a system of linear equations by Cramer's rule, the value of determinant is essential. Also, the inverse of a matrix can be determined with the help of the different order determinants, and many other problems the value of determinant is used. In the next slide, we shall discuss about the matrix inverse method to solve a system of linear equations, and also we shall discuss the matrix inverse method using Gauss-Jordan elimination method. Now, we discuss a suitable method to find the inverse of a matrix. Let A be a non-singular square matrix and there exists a matrix B such that AB equal to I. Then the matrix B is called the inverse of A and vice versa. It is well known that the inverse of a matrix is denoted by A power minus 1, and from linear algebra we know that the inverse of A, that means A inverse, equal to adjoint A by determinant A, where ADJA is called the adjoint of the matrix A and which is defined by this. Note that the capital Aij being the cofactor of the element small aji in the original matrix A or the corresponding determinant det A. But this conventional definition is not suitable to find the inverse of a matrix, because this definition needs huge amount of arithmetic calculation. That means, we have to calculate a lot of determinants of different orders. So, this method is not suitable for hand calculation and also for computation. In this method, we have to calculate n square cofactors, and each cofactor is a determinant of order n minus 1 by n minus 1. And it is discussed in previous section that to evaluate a determinant by using Gauss reduction method of order n, order of n cube arithmetic calculations are required. So, using the conventional definition of matrix inverse, the total number of arithmetic computation is n cube into n square, which is equal to order of n to the power 5, and it is a huge amount time for large matrices or large value of n. So, this method is not suitable. So, we have to design an efficient method to find the inverse of a matrix. So, here we discuss an efficient method called the Gauss-Jordan elimination method to find the inverse of a matrix. The main concept of this method is the augment the matrix A with a unit matrix of same order or same size, and only elementary row operations can be applied to get the inverse of the matrix. Let the order of the matrix A be n by n, and it is augmented with the unit matrix I. Then the augmented matrix is denoted by A V dots I, and the order of the augmented matrix A V dots I becomes n by 2n. That means number of rows is n and number of columns is twice n. The augmented matrix is the following form. Note that the first half represents the matrix A and the second half is nothing but the unit matrix. Now, the inverse of A is calculated in two phases. In first phase, the first half of the augmented matrix is converted to an upper triangular form by using only elementary row operations, and then in second phase the upper triangular matrix is converted to an identity matrix by using only row operations. All these operations are applied on the augmented matrix A V dots I. After second phase, the augmented matrix is transferred to I V dots A inverse. That means the right hand side becomes the inverse of the original matrix A. Symbolically, it is written as A V dots I. After Gauss-Jordan elimination method, this matrix is reduced to I V dots A inverse. Now, we use partial pivoting method to find the inverse of the matrix A with the help of Gauss-Jordan elimination method. The augmented matrix is this one, A V dots I equal to, the first half is the matrix given matrix A and second half is the unit matrix. In phase 1, our intention is to reduce the upper triangular form. In first column of the given matrix A, 4 is the largest element, so it is the first pivot element. So, we interchange first and third rows in place to place the pivot element 4 at the first position, that means 1 1 position. Then the augmented matrix 8 becomes this one, 4 minus 2 0 0 0 1, second row remains unchanged and third row is equal to 2 0 1 1 0 0. Now, we divide the first row by 4, that means we apply the elementary row operation R1 prime equal to 1 by 4 R1. So, using this operation only the first row is changed, that means this becomes 1 minus half 0 0 0 1 by 4 and second and third row remains unchanged. Now, we apply the elementary row operation R2 prime equal to R2 plus R1 and R3 prime equal to R3 minus 2 R1 to make the elements at position 2 1 and 3 1 to 0, and the corresponding rows second row and third rows are changed. Note that all the elements of first column except first one become 0. Now, we convert the element 3 2 to 0. So, for this purpose we find the largest element in magnitude from second column leaving the first element and see that this is the 5 by 2. That means 5 by 2 is the second pivot element of the matrix. Fortunately, it is present at the 2 2 position and hence there is no need to interchange any rows. Now, we divide the second row by 5 by 2, that means we apply the elementary row operation R2 prime equal to 2 by 5 R2, only the second row is transferred, first and third rows remain unchanged. Now to make the elements at position 3 to 0, we apply the elementary row operation or 3 prime equal to R3 minus R2. After this operation, the third row is reduces to 0 0 minus 3 by 5, 1 minus 2 by 5 minus 3 by 5. Now we divide the third row by minus 3 by 5 to make the 3 element to 1. That means we applied the elementary row operation or 3 prime equal to minus 5 by 3 R2. That means the third row becomes 0 0 1 minus 5 by 3 2 by 3 1. That means the first part of the augmented matrix becomes upper triangular form. So phase 1 is finished in this position. Now we go to phase 2, and in phase 2 we make the left half a unit matrix. To make 2 1 element to 0, we apply the elementary row operation R1 prime equal to R1 plus half R2, and using this elementary operation the first row is reduces to 1 0 4 by 5, 0 1 by 5 3 by 10, and second and third row remains unchanged. And to make the elements at position 3 1 and 3 2 to 0, we applied the elementary row operations R1 prime equal to R1 minus 4 by 5 R3, and for second row R2 prime equal to R2 minus 8 by 5 R3. So after this elementary row operation, the augmented matrix is finally reduces to this form. Note that the first half becomes an unit matrix and second half is correspondingly changed as per the row operations, and according to the Gauss-Jordan method, the second part is the inverse of the given matrix. That means the inverse of the given matrix is 4 by 3 minus 1 by 3 minus half, 8 by 3 minus 2 by 3 minus 3 by 2, and third row is minus 5 by 3 2 by 3 1. So this is the inverse obtained by Gauss-Jordan elimination method. Now we discuss about the matrix inverse method to solve a system of linear equations. We have already mentioned that any system of equations can be written as a matrix form Ax equal to b, where A is the coefficient matrix, B is the right hand matrix, right hand vector basically, and x is the vector of the variables which are defined in equation 4. So the solution of the equation matrix equation Ax equal to b is given by the equation x equal to A inverse b. That means the vector x is obtained by multiplying A inverse with the vector b. This method is illustrated by an example, this one. So in this example we consider 5 equations and 5 variables x1 to x5, and the coefficient matrix of this system of equation is this one. The size of the matrix is 5 by 5. The variable vector is x1 to x5, and the right hand vector is 2, 4, 6, 10, 13. So these vectors are already available. Now we have to calculate the value of the vector x using the formula x equal to A inverse b. To find the value of the vector x, we have to calculate the inverse of the matrix A, and using the partial pivoting method discussed earlier, the inverse of the matrix A is obtained as this one. This is the inverse of the matrix. The size of the matrix is 5 by 5, and the solution vector is x equal to A inverse b as per definition, and this is equal to minus 0.1872, 0.4486, 0.7333, 1.7136, and last one is 0.2430. And finally, the solution of the system of equation is x1 equal to the first value, that one is equal to minus 0.1872, x2 equal to 0.4486, x3 equal to 0.7333, x4 equal to 1.7136, and x5 equal to 0.2430. So this is the solution of the entire system of equations by using matrix inverse method. So we have discussed partial and complete pivoting method to evaluate a determinant with the help of Gauss reduction method, and secondly we have discussed the matrix inverse method based on Gauss-Jordan elimination method, And using Gauss-Jordan elimination method, we've seen that the inverse of a matrix can be determined in order of n cube time, and this is a very efficient algorithms or method to find the inverse of a matrix. Using this inverse, we can solve a system of linear equations, and we have explained that the matrix inverse method is successfully applicable or applied to solve a system of linear equations. And all these methods are explained with the help of an appropriate example.